song based on that. And this ties into Bobby Nelson. My brother, my mother, my father were never together, but I don't think that bothers me. We hesitate, we never tell, it seems very late, I think you're all great. Yesterday we might have fought, today it's in a clot. At present time, you all three are a present to me. That's the way it should be. I had you all wrapped up, the wraps on the floor. It doesn't bother me no more. Bobby Nelson. I just wrote a few things. She passed away maybe it was a couple of days ago, I think. But Willie's older sister. Anybody ever see Willie Nelson play live? Bobby was older than Willie, and they started music. They started playing music together, the two of them. And so the closest person I would guess to Willie's to Willie in his life would have to have been Bobby. But I wrote this as a piece of my childhood past. Years ago, when I was in the 11th grade, I would lay in my bedroom in the A-framed house on Jesterville Road in Wood County, West Virginia, that Dad had built. A teenager hiding away, Mom had introduced me to Willie Nelson. Mom and Dad were divorced, and I would hide away in that room at Dad's house, and my stepmother. And most high schoolers at the time were listening to the Stones, Billy Joel, Pink Floyd, and all that, and I was into that too. But Willie and family hit a missed spot. Out my window, nothing but the hills and woods of West Virginia. In my head, nothing but teenage angst and imagination and dreams. On my turntable, Willie and Family Live would spin for hours on end. I'd listen while staring at that double album cover. I still to this day feel that this is one of the best rock and roll albums of all time. You have to listen to the bone-crunching guitar break in Bloody Mary Morning and tell me that I'm wrong. But anyway, rock aside, there's a beauty in that album, touching, delicate moments. And many of those moments were centered around Bobby Nelson's upright piano. Not a piano like this, but those old spinet, those old upright type pianos, they have a certain sound to them. Maybe this tied me to my younger days where I attended Sand Hill United Methodist Church in Boaz, West Virginia. The church my grandpa helped build back in the 50s. Mom would take us every Sunday morning. Sometimes we'd go on Sunday evenings and Wednesdays too. We'd sit beside Grandma and Grandpa while their neighbor, Virginia Lott, would play the upright piano. And we would sing those hymns that you likely know, Church in the Wildwood, Peace in the Valley, How Great Thou Art. A bit later, Grandpa bought Mom a spinet piano, and this became my first instrument. My introduction to music creation. Virginia Lott was the go-to piano teacher in Boaz. My older brother Max started taking lessons before I did, and Mom did too. I never forget walking into the living room and watching Max play The Entertainer. Remember that? Anyway, that fascinated me. It blew my mind, and I needed to figure out how to do that myself. If you go to my website, by the way, there's photos of the piano and various things I'm talking about here if you're interested in that. The headline this morning, Bobby Nelson has died. It's the end of an upright era. The beautiful sounds that came from her piano are embedded deep into my soul. The sound of siblings locked in love. The sound of little old churches everywhere. I stepped away from the piano years ago, and the guitar became my main instrument, but recently I've picked it back up, and I'm loving that reunion, a reunion with the sounds of my youth. Dallas Groce, an early mentor of mine, once said, "Musicians and songwriters never die. The sounds they create fall upon the ears of the next generation and live on. The inspiration is endless." And I believe Bobby Nelson and Dallas Groce will live forever. And they put me in spirit, and your music will live forever too. I believe that. So here's to Bobby Nelson. I'll go play one for you here. You would not have fallen, then I would not have found you. Angel flying too close to the ground. And I patched up your broken wings around the wild, hoping to keep your spirits up and your fever down. And I knew one day you'd fly away. Love's the greatest healer to be found. So leave me if you need to. I will still remember. Angel flying too close to the ground. Fly on, past the speed of sound. I'd rather see you up than ground. Love that song. So, you know, my Uncle Philip, back to my grandparents. My mother's older brother went to school here at WVU. He graduated high school in '53. So he was here for 4 years. He went to this church, and the first time I played this series, this Loft series, I actually had my mother with me, and it was on Mother's Day, and it was this beautiful thing, because I went to school here, and I didn't attend this church, but I knew that Philip had gone here, and he was a real mentor of mine as well. Speaking of mentors, he was quite a poet, and he passed away maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but he was, you know, he left Boaz, West Virginia, where my grandparents lived, and he came here. And in my imagination, I was talking to Mom about today, because he was part of the Wesley Foundation. I think he must have been on the board for the Wesley Foundation, and they would meet, I don't know, sporadically. They would meet through the years, and he would end up in Morgantown, and until most of them, you know, they passed away. But he often talked about this church, and it's just kind of this beautiful circle that for me to end up, you know, eventually end up in the sanctuary, where I know that I know that my Uncle Philip would sit here in this space, you know, and he so loved this place. But years ago, and I think of him a lot, but lately I've been thinking he would write. I'll tell you a little bit more about him. He would write poetry, and this was unlike the men of my family. They were very manly men, and he was different. And it's all good. He would stand up and tell poetry at the funerals for his own parents. He would write poetry and tell about their lives in poetry. And unexpected. This was unexpected. Anyway, in 2001, he wrote a bunch of poetry about 9/11, and he came to my home studio. He lived in Fresno, California. He was a minister, and our family, you know, thought that he was the hippie of the family. He would preach. His church was outside, you know, in Fresno, and he would, and I just remember he was the talk of the family back in West Virginia, and but he would preach there, and then he taught a class in death and dying there at Fresno State, and anyway, but he came to the house in 2001. He had this group of this work of poetry that he'd written about 9/11 and how it touched him, and literally he'd written it like 2 or 3 days after it went down, and I think it was probably about 3 months later he came in and he wanted to document this, and he never released it that I know of, but I came across this poetry about last year on the 20th anniversary of that horrible event, and I posted it. You can message me if you'd like to hear the whole thing. There's about 12 poems there, but I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this poetry of Philip's a lot lately because it fits right in with the Ukrainian situation and these kids.
The power of this space.
I cry more that I get older, and it makes me feel good. So don't worry about me, folks. I'm good. Anyway, I want you to hear this poem. Kyle's going to play it for you. Then I think I can get through a song after that.
In the midst of all that was happening,
This would be Philip
I
Kimball
couldn't help
for
but
you.
think about the children.
I believe.
Consider the children. Consider the children whose mommies and daddies did not come home tonight. Consider the children. They are feeling what has happened cannot be right.
Hey, Kyle.
How can they understand? What can
That's all
we
right.
say to help
I
them
needed
make
that
sense
space.
of this horrific day? Consider the children. How can it be all the people screaming on their big TV? Mommy and Daddy are not coming home. The children must now face this world all on their own. The children are wondering why those airplanes crashed into buildings instead of flying in the sky.
Consider the children.
Who can tell the
They are
children
feeling what has
when we
happened
can't comprehend?
cannot be
Adults
right.
like you and I.
How can they understand?
Perhaps one way to calm
What
our
can we say
fears is to
help
join
them
the
make
children,
sense of this horrific
sharing
day?
their heart.
Consider the children. How can it be all the people screaming on their big TV? Mommy and Daddy are not coming home. The children must now face this world all on their own. The children are wondering why those airplanes crashed into buildings instead of flying in the sky. Who can tell the children why? When we can't comprehend, adults like you and I. Perhaps one way to calm our fears is to join the children, sharing their heartbroken tears. Consider the children. What else can we do? Consider the children inside me and you.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and strong. May you stay forever young. Forever young.
always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young.
Okay. Where are we? This is my pocket watch here. Wow, we about did a set there, didn't we? Didn't we? Jeez, I don't want to leave you there, though. I'd like to do something else. Let's see. One more song? Well, you're in charge. That's right, I'm in charge. Let's get that right. Yeah, I thought I was. There for a minute, I didn't think I was in charge at all. Well, here we do. I know what I can do here. This actually comes from my Uncle Philip telling me that my grandparents, they had a farm, you know, they used to have this farm. And it wasn't there when I came to be. But they had a chicken coop that just had some old tools in it but he would tell me that he remembers my grandfather, getting ready for killing chickens. And and them running around after the guillotine thing went down, and that's what this song's about, folks. Kinda. They hugged a bit too tight, but it felt too good to hurt. They had a patch of ground, told me a bit of it was my dirt. Gave me love and seed, later pulled it up and it was good to eat. This all went on, it all went on. Grandma and Grandpa's back lawn. I like to do this up here instead. Here's my key change. Grandpa would say, hey, the rake's over there in the garage. Spiders, snakes, and rats were hanging out there in my twisted mirage. He was putting used oil on the driveway dirt to keep the dust below our shirts. This all went on, it all went on. Grandma and Grandpa's back lawn. stinger stuck in me. I can hear my laughing cousin as I'm crying and a fussing. This all went on, it all went on. Grandma and Grandpa's back lawn. Well, like I said, there used to be some chickens, but they all run around like chickens, no head. Will take the gumption out of any bird. I can see them running now, there they go. There's dinner. Fried and on our plates. Man, they tasted great. But cock-a-doodle-doo, the fresh egg days are through. They flew away like the dew leaves with the dawn. They moved on with Grandma and Grandpa back lawn. Now the grass is all grown over, and in the garden sits a trailer. The Hugs left with all their might sometime during that last century. But they live on in many hearts, and in one simple song called This All Went On, It All Went On. This all went on, it all went on. This all went on, it all went on. Grandma and Grandpa back lawn. Okay. There it is. There's a set for you. Set one. Thanks, folks.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
So we'll take a little bit of a break. Todd's got CDs, a lot of them. Tradition here is to show your appreciation by making a nice offering for the musician. That first set alone was worth a really good offering. So you can come up and do that here and check out the merchandise. Visit the client. We'll be back in about 15 minutes or so. Restrooms are out down the hall. Go up the little ramp and they'll be under that if you need restrooms.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
because first of all, I don't have skis, and secondly, at doggone Mary Angel just about killed me in the test. And back in October, when I had a contest for decades, it's still okay, but I'm just, I really would like to do something now. Twist and fall, twist and tear. So I just been kind of taking it out of the way, but I just took off to try to run down the ball, and she take me out, run for it. Next thing I knew, I was going down. That was another thing when I fell, hit my knee and my hands. I jammed this hand outward so hard that the coil was black and blue for days after that, and I didn't. So I'm still having just right in my heart. I have to be careful about that. And if I pace myself and don't play the wrong thing within the first half hour playing, then I can go for a long time and I'm fine. But it's like that first, I have to really be careful that I do my first half hour or so. I'm just gonna so, yeah, leave it to me. When I hit with the, I had my seizures first, I felt it was the butt end around cleared out.
Yeah, I was able to quit using those traffic poles.
Is there a website? Yeah, just mountain stage.
But I've improved on it.
Are you still?
Pushed myself.
Are you still?
They do a couple shifts.
So you started still like redoing just
I gotta make a few announcements and we'll get back to you. Is that okay? All right, we'll get going back here in just a second. I want to announce a couple of things, some upcoming. Here's the concerts in Loft schedule. These will be on the piano. They're out on the table as you leave. But on April 10th, our guests right here, Randy and Daria Jones, Kitten and St. Biscuits will be playing. And you'll want to catch them. That's very, very good stuff. There's actually 2 shows in April. There's one on April 3rd, Jeff Miller. And there's going to be a guitar looping pedal workshop for that too. I guess he does a lot of that stuff. So anyway, here's the flyers and the rest of the schedule. Jamie Lester's in May, Jim Snyder, Brandon Urbon, Aristotle Jones, Jenny Nathan Wilson. A lot of folks will be coming here throughout 22. So come on out. Hopefully, I think next month they're going to try to start having them back up in the loft. If everything goes as planned, it's a little more intimate space. This is great. It's a little more intimate up there. And, so anyway, come on out on April 3rd and April 10th. Then on April, when's the art bar thing?
That's April 2nd.
April 2nd, there's a venue downtown called the Art Bar at the corner of Walnut and High Street, where BW3 used to be. You might remember that. And Jillian Kelly, who owns Retro Tea, the funky little store on Walnut Street, owns the Art Bar. And it's I haven't been there yet, but I've seen some activities there. And there's a I think 4 different venues around the state, as I understand.
No,
Are they
we're in
all in
Morgantown.
town? Oh, okay. It's
Gibby's is
fundraiser
one.
for musicians. Where are the other ones?
Well, like the more rock bands, they're gonna be in Gibby's.
Oh,
They'll be
Gibby's,
all day
yeah.
long, the acoustic or what they're.
Yeah, the old folks acoustic will be playing April
Hey,
2nd.
you keep that old folks.
I'm there.
We're older than you, so
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
call,
yeah. That's
don't
why I was
call
talking
yourself
about
old.
Just hold dirt.
Yeah,
The more
so,
experienced musicians.
that's gonna be at the Art Bar, and then there are 2 more venues, I can't remember. I
Yeah,
can't
so they're all in Morgantown.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're all
so-
going on all day long.
So it's a benefit for musicians
Emergency
who
fund.
have been having a tough time during COVID. So anyway, that'll be going on. And Morgantown's got the concerts at the park, at Krebs Park. Those go on during the summer. The Botanic Garden has shows. The concerts in the park for the Bow Park are on Tuesday nights. I don't know exactly what's the schedule, but they're on Tuesdays. The Botanic Garden has shows, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the so make sure you see it. These are here on the piano. If you haven't yet visited the basket, please do that. And back to Mr. Burge. Thanks, Doc.
Thanks, Chris. Okay. Change my mind. I learned this song from multiple people. I didn't learn this tuning from anybody. This is an old, that's redundant. This is a traditional number. It's basically about a boss that just doesn't treat his employees very well. And but I heard a version of Woody Guthrie doing this, and he played basically Woody plays it just one chord, which is just fascinating to me that it doesn't really take anything away from it. He's playing one chord. I think I'm playing maybe 2.5. But there's a really powerful version of Pete Seeger doing this song, and hundreds of versions out there. It's called Buffalo Skinners. And anyway, my buddy Tim O'Brien did this song, kind of blew me away, and I was determined to learn it. All you old-time cowboys and listen to my song. I assure you won't grow weary as old
Irvin Griffin in 1883, when a man by the name of Crago came walking up to me. He said, "How do you do, young fella? How would you like to go and spend the summer pleasant on the range of the buffalo?" Me being out of work right then to the drover, I did say, heading out on the buffalo range depends upon the pay. And if you pay good wages and transportation to and fro, I think I might go with you on the range of the buffalo. Well, of course I pay good wages, transportation too. If you agree to work with me until the season's through, but if you do get homesick and try to run away, you'll surely lose your life and your family will never see your pay. With all this flattering talking, he signed up quite a crew, some 10 or 12 in number, able-bodied through and through. And our trip, it was a pleasant one all through New Mexico, till we crossed the Pease River, the range of the buffalo. Pleasures ended and our troubles all begun. The lightning striking on us made the cattle run. We got all full of stickers from the cactus that did grow, and those bandits waited to pick us off in the hills of Mexico. Well, the working season ended, but the drover did not pay. Said you drank up all your money, boys, and you're all in debt to me. But us cowboys never cared for his corrupt, bankrupt tone. So we left that drover's bones to bleed on the range of the buffalo. Thank you very much. My daughter has this book
we were on vacation here a few years back, in 2018, and so she would have been 10 or 11. By the way, this is my daughter's artwork on this T-shirt. I should have mentioned that. That's her artwork. The album is called. It's an advertisement for an album called Live in Parkersburg. Some people pronounce it. They think it's called Live in Parkersburg, and both could be true because I do live in Parkersburg, and the album was recorded live in Parkersburg. So you can call it whatever you want. But this is my daughter's artwork. She's 15 now, and anyway, she had this book. She's quite the artist, and she had this book, and she put it in the cart. We were on this vacation, and we were at some store waiting out a storm or something, and it was called 300 Drawing Prompts, and it was just a word. There was a word at the top of each page, and you draw, you create based on the word. But you're drawing, and it's take you out of your head, take you out of your own head, and challenge you to make art. And anyway, she put it in the shopping cart, and then she decided, I don't want that after all. And she started to put it back, and I thought, wait a minute, leave that in there. And I thought it would be fun to go through that book and just write some songs. And so I actually wrote a song. If you look it up on YouTube, there's one of the pages at the top. It said, "Angel's Wings," and I wrote a song called "Angel's Wings." It came very quickly. You can go online and see. I can't do all these songs, you see. And there's another one called "Dr. Seuss Hat," and so that's out there. You can find that on YouTube, Dr. Seuss Hat. And there's another, actually, it became an album title, Your Reflection was another one. And I think you're probably supposed to draw your reflection somehow, or, whatever. You're not supposed to do anything. But it said Your Reflection, and I wrote a song called Your Reflection Will Kill You. And that's on that's actually an album title over here. And what am I driving at? Oh, anyway. These drawing prompts led me to some cool places that I wouldn't normally go. And the reason I bring this up, I'm also part of this songwriting group that we meet in Marietta, Ohio, which is just 12 miles from my house in Parkersburg there. We meet once a month, and we challenge people in this same way. We challenge each other to continue to write, and we call it the quick and dirty word. Or sometimes it's a phrase, but usually it's one word. And one of the words was burlap, and I wrote a song about a two-legged race. It's called "Back to the Races." Another time during the songwriter group, my friend Hunt Brawley walked in the door as we were trying to think what the word would be, and we decided it was hunt. Hunt was the word, and I wrote a song called "Dropping Meat," which was something that my truck driving buddies always used to call deer hunting. They called it "dropping meat." Maybe I should do that song next. But this particular month when I'm driving it, this is a song called "Born Again." I would probably stay away from titling a song "Born Again," but the woman in the group, she said, broken down and born again. That's what she said. And we thought, well, let's go with "Born Again." And we all came back and had these songs and ideas. And here's mine for that. Are you guys with me? Okay. Hi.
New morn's like being born, but the weight of a day can snuff all life away. The weight of a day can snuff all life away. I had a dream Half of my heroes are dead and gone, the other half forgot what side they're on. Life goes on, but the dead, they do too. I'll try to be your hero if you try to be mine too.
Why, thanks. I came up with this cool progression a while back. It sounded like this. It's like. That's a little off tune. I thought, man, that could be something. On a dark desert highway. Oh, bah, 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 bah. Dang gone. Anyway. Dropping meat. Deep in the valley, 80 miles from our home, sits a family cabin with 12 beds and a buck stove. There's a deer head on the wall beside the bear, beside the elk. They didn't see it coming, didn't know to ask for help. The freezer in the cellar holds frozen calls of the wild. Thaw it, cook it, it'll energize us all. Pap and Uncle, the cousins and me are locked and loaded to the teeth. The whole 9 yards is begging to be popped off in the trees. Rise and shine, it's killing time. Now when you look them in the eye, you'll see the love of this green earth and the reflection of the you that you once were back at birth. So I sit here in Pap's tree stand, making things a bit unfair. Frozen toes, runny nose, makes me wish I was back there. Back at work, griping about my boss, having a laugh at his expense, while wishing I was in some tree, dreaming about dropping meat, dropping meat. schedule here. Okay. We're doing all right. This is a song that I wrote after a few years back. I saw this woman posted on Facebook. She posted that I knew it was going to be a bad Monday when I hooked up with you Friday night. And I thought, and then this weird story came to me. You know how hard I need to let you go, but once a week I seem to need your fix. But your kind of fixing's like a wrench and it works and it keeps my nuts and bolts in the mix. I'm up to my neck every day of every week, hoping at the end of the day we don't mess up and meet again. As Friday rolls around, I'm back in your town, trying to stop myself from hunting you down. I knew this would be a blue Monday since I hooked up with you last Friday. I knew this would be a blue Monday. Oh, I got a lot to do. If I could just clear my head of thoughts of how I ought not do you. We're both a bad intention of the sort we shouldn't mention, and I think until my face is turned blue. Let me know if the show's getting too slick for you. We think until our faces turn blue is the line, folks. It's going by fast. Hey, did I ever say how good you look in blue? Funny how beauty brings us back to some ugly truth. As Fridays arrive, I think I might die from thoughts about how it is I knew this was gonna be a blue Monday. Since I hooked up with you last Friday, and I knew this would be a blue Monday. But still I can't accept it went through. It seems our love died, but our bodies denied it. We keep up all the bad old blues. So when you find me in my final resting place, don't bring me pretty flowers and leave them on my lonesome old grave. Send the donation to some organization helping one-track minds behave. I knew this would be Monday since I hooked up with you last Friday night. I knew this would be a blue Monday. Blue Monday. Hey, you want to come up and play a song? Yeah, you want to do that? He just happened to bring his banjo and laid it out here, and Chris had it. Hey, Let's see if I'm still in tune. I was listening to Chris's fine CD on the way here for the third time, and it's mighty fine, folks. Chris's album. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I'll take the blame for that. I'm in charge here. And tell the folks where you're playing in town. Are you playing anywhere in town here coming up soon?
Yes. I'm playing on Mountain Stage here at the end of the month at the CAC. So
That's a good gig right there.
yeah, I'm excited about it.
Who else is playing?
Janice Ian,
Yeah.
Beppy Gambetta. What's the other acts? That was back in January. Yeah, that show happened and they did the show, but they basically canceled the show because of weather, but they still recorded it, so the acts were all there. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, great. Well, great. Right on. Go see.
Tune with you. Let me hear a G chord when you get a chance.
Oh yeah, we'll do that. Beautiful. Okay. I should have been ready. You got up and got ready before I did. How'd that happen?
It's banjo. It's always good.
Man, I'm tired of all the driving and the ringing in my ears. Tired of all the balding tires, feeling older than my years. I'd give it all up in this minute. I'd place the brakes upon the thrills for a quiet life without the heartaches up in my West Virginia hills. See, I wore out that old Geo. Now I wear this way I feel. I feel my fingers bleed while meeting something old and weak to kill. See, my ink had stopped flowing, so I got the lid out, but it stayed still. I need a life with fewer verses. Hey, I need my West Virginia hills. I got a brother in Mon County, says he'll help keep me on my feet. Change in my head and in my pocket, a place to bed, a place to eat. See, these strings, they just don't love me. I know now that they never will. My love lays waiting, hey, she's tucked away up in my West Virginia hills.
you, Chris. Thanks, everybody. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. This would be the late winter of the show. We've gone through. We start out with springtime, and I think we had some rough weather there for a little bit, and now we're in the. Are you following me here? And this is the late winter, and then we'll go back to the spring, and we'll exit. After there will be no encore tonight. Actually, this is basically, I pretended, my wife told me, 63 Eyes is playing at 123 Pleasant Street, or maybe it's the Nyabengi. It could have been the Underground Railroad. But it's all the same stage. But we were there playing on that stage, and my wife, early on in our relationship, she would watch the band. We had, 3 songs on the set list left, and we would exit the stage, and wait for people to applaud and see if they wanted us to come back on. And sometimes that doesn't happen, so it's a risk. But she said, why do you leave the stage like that? I said, well, we're waiting for the encore. And she goes, that's silly. Just stay up there and play the songs. I thought, that makes sense. So I've been trying to do that ever since. And there's no risk of not getting the encore then. So I'm just telling you folks, this is actually the encore. So thank you and good night, everybody. Have a safe trip home. Okay. Yeah, that's silly. Okay, so let's do, I mentioned burlap. I said I couldn't do all the songs, but maybe I can. I'm going to do burlap here. Back to the races. A mess, every day was a test, and I'd fail like a fool who just daydream in school. And now that I'm old, I look back on my past, just me and my dad making the best with what we had. Our 2 legs in one sack, we seemed to sink up like that, but we'd always fall flat on our faces. Then we'd go back to the races. In a 3-legged race, the winner takes all, and the losers are left with a sack made of burlap. There's no time to nap, so condition yourself, and if you win, you can fight as to which one of you gets the prize. But Dad and I, we were one close peas in our pod who'd gotten the nod from the god of good losers. Then we'd go back to the races. We'd go back to the races. Back to back to the C harmonica with that bad. I really appreciate you guys buying CDs and tipping me tonight, because I'll be able to get a new C harmonica. That's where was I? Now Dad is long gone, and with these two legs I'm on, I need to find me a way to go it alone. In this race, I've gone from kicking the can to so close to the bucket that I look back on my life and I say, I know this place. I go back to the races. I go back. Back to the races. Thank you so much. I'd like to sing a love song that I wrote for my dog now, and I always have to sing about my kids, my family, and the dog. This is the old model. This is a song about life is a series of dogs, and this is not the latest model that we have. The latest model is decided that he wants to leave little surprises for us all over the carpet and various places in the house, but that's another story, and that's another song. But I'm afraid it's like, I'm afraid to get up in the middle of the night and go anywhere in the house. It's if anybody has any advice. Anyway, but this is the last dog. The last dog we had was he was a Weimaraner, and he was a real spaz. And I guess the breed is just a spazzy breed. Most dogs, they'll calm down after a couple years, and this one, it took about 7 for it to calm down. It was acting like a puppy, and he liked to eat like shoes and the couch and things like that, and it was just a handful. We had this dog before we had kids. It was good. It was really good. The kids came, and that was quite easy compared to this dog. But it's good training for parents. Anyway, we had trouble coming up with a name for the dog, simply because my wife refused to go with the names that I wanted to name the dog, and I refused to go with the names that she wanted to name the dog, and I can't remember what she wanted to name the dog. Some of the ideas that she had, but I remember mine were ideas like Roger. I wanted to call him Roger. The dog I had before that was named Barney, after Fife, and she said, we're not going to name our dog. And I thought Floyd would be good, No, excuse me, backwards. Floyd was the dog that I had before that, and I thought Barney would be okay. And she said, we're not going to name a dog after a TV character, right? No TV characters. And then I said, how about Roger? And she said, we're not going to name our dog after Roger Miller. And that's what I was driving at, Roger Miller. Got a letter just this morning that was postmarked Omaha. Typed and neatly written, offering me this better job with higher wages, expense paid in a car. But I'm on TV here locally, and I can't quit. I go on TV, a grinning, wearing pistols and a cap. It's a kiddie show, and I'm a hero of the younger set. I'm the #1 attraction at every supermarket parking lot. King of Kansas City, no thanks, Omaha, thanks to
like Kansas City stars. That's what I are. Yodelee-lady. You ought to see my car drive a big old Cadillac with wired wheels. I got rhinestones on the spokes. Credit down at the grocery store. My barber tells me jokes. I'm the number one attraction at every supermarket parking lot. The king of Kansas City, no thanks Omaha, thanks Anyway, Roger Miller. Thanks. I went way into that, didn't I? But she said we're not going to name our dog after Roger Miller, and that was my next idea was Miller. And I I still think that's a pretty good name for a dog. And so, if you want it, it's yours. I was not able to get that one through. So then she had the idea of naming the dog Luigi, and I didn't like that. But we landed on Lou, and we both liked that. But here's how we got there. We started calling it Luigi. I'm out on the mud porch, and letting Luigi out, and then I pour food in his bowl, and I'm standing there in my robe and my pajamas, early in the morning, and hey Luigi, I'm calling for him, And I look over, about from here to the stained glass is my neighbor staring at me. I didn't realize that she was there. And I thought, this is silly. This is a silly name. Just standing there in my pajamas saying, hey, Luigi! I just thought, no, this just doesn't fly. So the next day, I go out there, and same thing. And instead of saying Luigi, I decided Lou. And I went, hey, Lou! And that stuck. That name stuck. So I got my Mary Tyler Moore in there, folks. So anyway, there is a song here, by the way. There's a song, but so that's a story how we got to that name. But we had this friend who was she was pregnant. She had 2 Doberman Pinscher puppies, and remember Luigi was a mess. Just a wreck. He was killing us. But she was pregnant. She had some sort of situation where her doctor said she needed to chill out and relax, and she has these 2 pups, these Doberman Pinscher pups, and she asked if we would watch them for a while, and that my head kind of exploded thinking about that, but we couldn't say no. She had no options, so she assured us that they were house trained. She didn't let us know which house, but anyway, so they came to the house, and it was insane for I don't know how long it was, but it was too long. And once they exited the house, I looked at Luigi, and it was like it was a different dog, I mean, it was so he was well behaved all of a sudden. He really wasn't any different. But and I wrote this love song for him, and the song's really one of the shortest songs I've ever written. But it takes me that long to tell you about it. But here it is. It's a good dog. Our friend's pup just threw up in the kitchen by the door. That bad boy sure ain't good with his number 2 falling on my floor. Who knew that who knew that you were the good dog? When I whistle, you do come at a steady pace, and no matter where from, and you sit there so politely and wag your tail while I strum. I think, who knew that who knew that you found underground was not in your lost and found. Took me 6 years to get a clue, but for you it seemed like 42. Who knew that you were the good dog? Hey boy, hey boy, hey boy. Song's really over. I just like doing this. Good dog. Anyway, I'd like to thank Kyle up here. He is, it is Kyle. Is that a Kyle? I can't tell. I can't tell if that's him. He's up there. He's up there actually singing all these words and doing all the instrument work, and I'm just kind of like lip syncing. I really appreciate that. Thanks to Chris and thanks to Duncan and thanks to you guys for coming. Individually, I could very quickly tell each and every one of you that, you know, if you guys weren't, this is like my biggest crowd in 2 years. And I'm going to tell, my wife's going to say, how'd it go? And I said, it was the biggest crowd I've had in 2 years. All right. Well, Luigi passed away on the first day of spring, and I wrote this song. This song, I'm going to try to do happy songs, leave you with happy songs. This song is a happy song. We enjoyed that dog so much. After 7 years, he lived to be 13. It's the first day of spring, first day of spring, so why is it so cold? I need to sneeze, need to release the last of a winter that has made me feel 2 whole years older. Maybe this year, when and if this snow clears, I'll start going back to church. God knows it's been years, but it's all his fault, for no sane man would drive to congregate in this frozen, screwed up mess. It's the first day of spring, first day of spring. Why is it so cold? I need to sneeze, need to release the last of a winter that has made me feel 2 whole years older. Our good dog is gone. He was old and could not pass through one more season like the last. but the cold still sticks around, kicking me in my happy. I suppose I'm just down about this man's best friend's ending. On this first day of spring, why is it so cold? Maybe we all need to be brought to our knees, to be thankful for what this new spring will eventually bring.
Thank you so much. Got one more for you. This song I wrote this song early '90s, but during the pandemic, as Chris mentioned, I was been writing a musical based on the history of the Mid-Ohio Valley, and how the history of the Mid-Ohio Valley has influenced the whole country. It's a long story. It's going to be a musical, but anyway, basically there was one legislator when Ohio just had become a state, basically, that his name's Ephraim Cutler, and he cast the one vote that made Ohio a slave-free state, and then all the and then all of the states in the Northwest Territory followed, and of course, you know, if a person in, you know, back in the early 1800s or whenever it was, you know, or the mid 1800s, if you were standing in Parkersburg, West Virginia, you could be standing on Blennerhassett Island, and Harmon's slaves would be all around you. The slaves would look right over Belpre, Ohio, which wasn't really that far, and they saw freedom, and it just boggles my mind. I grew up 3 miles away from an Underground Railroad station. They were all over that part of Ohio, but anyway, that's what I've been working on this musical with Larry Groce. And just based on, we're calling it One Vote, and it just seems like all this history and all this, the way the natives interacted with the pioneers, and the way the slaves were treated, and all that, it just seems to line right up with what happens today. It's amazing. How that works, but it seems so contemporary, sadly contemporary, all these things that we're studying and writing about. But also during the pandemic, I wrote an album. Well, I kept saying this because the music industry, everything was messed up. You know, everything was messed up. My wife lost her job during the pandemic. She's in the food business. She sells food to hospitals and places of that sort, and mostly hospitals. But the food industry just crumbled. You would think that, you know, because all the restaurants closed down, a lot of those folks that would sell food to hospitals lost their job. She has it back now, and she got the job back. But the music industry obviously took a dive big time, and still kind of living in this place somewhat. But I kept saying to everybody that I don't know really what to do. It's my first pandemic, you know, which was my little bit of humor. But it's everybody's first pandemic, and hopefully our last. But my latest album is called "It's My First Pandemic," and it just streams out there for free. You can listen to that. But I put this song that I wrote years ago as a young guy. I put on that. I redid it because it made me feel better, and I need a capo for it. I put it in one of these pockets. There it is. I'm gonna play it for you here. leave you with this. You remember phone booths? Yeah, so it mentions a phone booth, but other than that, it sounds. As long as I'm alive, I'm gonna keep up this fight. I may be wrong, I may be right, but I'll never stop to drive. I'll maybe need another hero. I'll maybe need a point to which way to go. As long as I'm alive, I'm gonna keep up this fight. As long as I feel young, I'm gonna keep up this run. I may be burning, baby, under the sun. They put a little bit of poison on my tongue. I may be lying, yes, it's true. I'll do my talking from a telephone booth. As long as I feel young, I'm gonna keep up this run. As long as I'm still free, I'll keep on running through the trees. I'll shed my cotton for a leaf, then watch my neighbor's disbelief. I'll never watch the evening news. They can't be watched while they're watching you. As long as I'm still free, I'll keep a running through the trees. I'll keep a running through the trees. I'll keep a running through the trees. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
Yeah. So make sure you grab a schedule up here or out front. If you didn't buy a CD or if you bought one, you need to buy another. I think there's a few up here.
Yeah.
Here's the schedules. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for showing up. Thanks, Todd.
A tip, I think about it. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Kyle.